May, may I request Honorable Justice Amanullah to please come on the dais, please. May I request our President, Mr. Prashant Kumar, also to be on the dais. Our President-elect, Mr. Amarjeet Singh Chandiok. Okay. May I request Dr. Anindita Pujari, our Vice President, also to be on the dais. Friends, can I have your attention, please? I welcome Honorable Justice Amanullah, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Mr. Prashant Kumar, President, Mr. Amarjeet Singh Chandiok, President-elect, Dr. Anindita Pujari, our Vice President, seniors, friends and colleagues. We are here today to participate in the two-day session under Rule of Law Convention, where we will be discussing about the upcoming newly enacted criminal laws that will come into effect from 1st of July. We are privileged to have Justice Amanullah as our chief guest in the inaugural session of Rule of Law Convention 2024. And I must thank him for taking time out from his busy schedule, as not many of you will know that he is traveling today, and yet he took time out on such a short notice to come and address us and accommodate us and bless us in this inaugural session. So thank you, sir, for that. We all know that the core value of rule of law is maintaining a free, democratic and fair society. We will be nothing without the rule of law, and what better way to feel and perceive but by comparing ourselves to some of the neighboring countries where we have rule but we see no law. To me, rule of law is something when one is wronged and he doesn't take the matter in his own hands or set out to exact revenge or feel helpless and accepts fate, but someone who knows what is wrong and the system will make it right by either the courts or by the processes. That, to me, is rule of law. The freedom that we pride in and we take for guarantee is thanks to the rule of law. We in our country pride ourselves for our basic structure, fundamental rights, which have evolved and refined over a period of time. To us, rule of law means that no one, including government, is above the law, where law protects our rights and justice is accessible to all. Our courts are the protector of rule of law, and we as lawyers are the soldiers. We see every day that no matter how high a person may be, no one is above the law and have to follow the law and are accountable to law. If lines are transgressed, the courts in our country have stepped in and the courts are protectors. Whether it's a case of personal liberty or case of a mayor or a company falsely advertising, whatever affects the society, the courts have protected us and restored the rule of law. It is in this spirit that Bar Association is hosting our Rule of Law Convention, and we thank Justice Amanullah for being present and inaugurating the same. So without much ado, may I request our President, Mr. Prashant Kumar, to give his address.
Honorable Mr. Justice Amanullah, President-elect Mr. Chandiok, Vice President Anindita, Learned Attorney General Shri R. Venkatramani, Mr. Acharya, and all my learned colleagues, please pardon me for not taking individual names because we have a short time for this session. The learned judge has to travel and we must keep our commitment to keep time for him. Friends, mostly when a citadel is falling, everyone tries to leave. But then there are those who stay put, stay back to ensure that the citadel is strengthened and it does not fall. if we take the nation as the citadel, we as lawyers who believe in rule of law, who stand in courts arguing for justice, who have the understanding of how the constitutional and governance mechanisms work, we are the ones who must stay back and be together to strengthen the citadel. And this rule of law convention is a part of that process, that each year we gather together to see what are the cracks in the citadel which needs repair and strengthening. What are the issues which can corrode its foundations? How we have to ensure that our great country continues to stand on very solid foundation of rule of law as envisaged in our constitution. With this spirit we had launched this convention, and each year we have continued to discuss various aspects including independence of judiciary, and we had the benefit of leadership of stalwarts like Fali Nariman to carve out and set out that vision, and that's why we dedicated this convention this year to his fond memory. Friends, last year we launched a biennial New Delhi International Rule of Law Convention, in which bar leaders from 21 countries participated. And the thought behind it was that even going through our constant struggle to maintain and uphold the rule of law within our own country, but our continued democracy, our continued faith in independence of judiciary and the institutions shows that a country with the largest population in the world has a continued stream of democracy and exchange of power. And that can only happen when the citizens have a faith in the institutions and the soldiers of the rule of law don't give up. And the legal community and the community of judges, which is one, is that community. So friends, from last year, we gathered all these great legal minds from various countries to start a New Delhi dialogue biennially, where the challenges we face, the challenges we encounter, where in some cases we succeed, in some cases we fall short, that itself becomes a binding glue for struggling humanity across the globe, where the last decade has seen a slide in the parameters of the rule of law. A message that as diverse set of society and civilization like India, as populous a country like India, can still march ahead with these principles. These principles are not a burden, as some may say, that some autocratic regimes have progressed better. These principles and values of rule of law are the heart and soul of the nation and the nationhood. And it is our quest to continue to uphold it. Friends, this year we have chosen to discuss the 3 criminal laws which are going to be implemented from July 1 this year. It is a very bold and audacious decision, because there is some continuity, there is some break, and there is a new process being brought in force. And before all these laws become applicable and the arguments and issues around them are thrashed out in courts and applied in courts. We must, as legal community, understand what are the provisions, but also understand how these provisions we have to carry with ourselves and disseminate to general public and to the courts with the soul and kernel of the rule of law and the values that Constitution enshrines. So friends, today's effort with the galaxy of speakers who are experts is to get this fusion and start the process of capacity building through understanding the nitty-gritties and the soul and the intent of these new enactments, which must be fused with the spirit of the rule of law and constitutionalism. With this, to save time, I will request our chief guest, Justice Amanullah, to share his thoughts with us. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all of you. And obviously, I'm really delighted to be here. In fact, yes, I was hard pressed, but still, I thought that I should not miss this opportunity. Otherwise, I don't know when I'll be left out. So the first opportunity I just grabbed. Anyway, it's very overwhelming to stand on a platform where in the past stalwarts have been the office bearers of the association and the cause, and as the Honorable President has just shared his thoughts, ultimately the essence is for both of us, either the bar or the bench, basically to uphold the rule of law and to ensure that the Constitution prevails no matter what. There may be ups and downs, there cannot be a fully level playing platform, but the ability and the endeavor should be to ensure that. I'm sorry I did not address the dignitaries because I thought I would forget this before I come to the formalities. So, Mr. Amajit Singh Chandiok, President-elect, Mr. Prashant Kumar, President, Dr. Andita Pujari, Vice President, Mr. Amarjit Singh Bedi, Honorary Secretary General, Learned Attorney General for India, Mr. Venkatramani, other office bearers of the Bar Association of India, lawyers, and everybody present here. The Bar Association of India emanated from an idea that was close to the hearts of the constitutional framers, who came from a legal background. The genesis lay in the thought that there should be a unified pan-India bar. After extensive consultations with stalwarts of the bar, the All India Law Conference was held in March 1959, which led to the eventual registration of the association in September 1959, before its formal inauguration in April 60. What makes the Bar Association of India stand out is its unique structure with its governing council comprising members voted in by individual members from all the states and union territories. Senior law officers of the center and states, as also presidents of other national and state bar associations, are ex officio part of the governing council. I am informed that the BAI represents India in international bar organizations, including but not limited to Law Asia, the Commonwealth Lawyers Association, etc. A look into the past also tells us what Mr. M.C. Setalwad, the founding president, envisioned as the association's role and was firm on it, that the association aimed at upholding the Constitution of India. He was of the opinion that the men of law cannot afford to stand aside when the contrary was forging ahead along with its newly chosen path. His earnest hope is best expressed in the following words: to pledge to the smooth and impartial administration of justice and the orderly development of a true democracy. The Rule of Convention 2024 is a tribute to Mr. Fali S. Nariman, who also served this association as its president from 1991 to 2010, as eloquently expressed by Honorable Chief Justice of India in the full court reference of the Supreme Court in his memory about late Mr. Nariman, it could be said, no matter the client, the government or the case, Mr. Nariman sought to advance a vision of the law grounded in liberty, equality and justice, the foundational values of our constitution and ultimately our society. No matter the occasion or the opponent, he conducted himself with grace and poise. When many voices fell silent during difficult times, Nariman's resounding baritone resonated in the vaults of the court and beyond. His voice represented the consciousness of the nation. On the issue of the rule of law, it is an appropriate occasion for the women and men of law to rededicate ourselves to following his legacy, not in service for self but for service of the nation. The convention also seeks to explore and examine the impact of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita 2023 and Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam 2023 on lawyers and citizens. As you are aware, these laws will take effect from 1st of July 2024 and replace the Indian Penal Code 1860, the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 and the Indian Evidence Act 1872. Lawyers will be aware of what they need first and foremost. On a lighter note, a chart or a table comparing the older and newer provisions to find out which sections in the new statutes mirror which sections of the old statutes. That apart, I am sure the two-day convention would brainstorm on the issue. I think it would be best for me to avoid detailed comments on the new set of laws at the present juncture, as legal challenges on merits may come up before the court after they come into force, which could require adjudication. Coming back to the rule of law, it is noteworthy that the framers of the Constitution had before them various types of administrative, political and justice delivery systems to choose from. Broadly speaking, in terms of extremes, you had a rule of law system, somewhat rudimentary, but which did give the individual a few basic rights, and on the other hand, you had a rule by law system which gave the state an upper hand in most spheres of a citizen's life and reduced the citizen to a mere appendage in the machinery of the state. One of the unfair criticisms mounted against the Indian Constitution is that it borrows from many other constitutions and systems. I believe this is unmerited. After all, why should a nation learn only from its own mistakes? If other countries have tried and tested out various kinds of institutional mechanisms which have served them well, what is the harm in adopting them? Rather, it is a testament to the wisdom and sagacity of the Constituent Assembly that our Constitution is what it is and is functional even today. If you look around the world, or for that matter even around the subcontinent, our Constitution is not too old, yet our Constitution stands out as a shining example. As the late Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, chairman of the drafting committee, had once pointed out, however good a constitution may be, if those who are implementing it are not good, it will prove to be bad. However bad a constitution may be, if those implementing it are good, it will prove to be good. I must make mention of the fact, and as some of you may already know, our criminal justice delivery system is facing challenges. A number of persons lost in jails are not convicts, they are merely under trials. Another chunk of people in jail are those who have been convicted, but their appeals against conviction are still pending in the respective high courts. It would not be out of place to refer to the fundamental credo which lies at the heart of our Constitution, that is, the principle of innocent till proven guilty. Of course, except for the special statutes that reverse the burden of guilt onto the accused. The United States Supreme Court long ago had put the principle succinctly as being the undoubted law, axiomatic and elementary, and its enforcement lies at the foundation of administration of a criminal system. It was in the case of Coffin versus United States. The Supreme Court of ours has repeatedly settled this principle of law multiple times, including as recently as in the judgment rendered in the matter of Suresh Chamappa Shetty versus State of Maharashtra in the year 2023. We are at a crucial crossroads in our national history, but to truly fulfill our tryst with destiny, we will need to yet again remind ourselves of the Mahatma's promise and goal: to wipe away every tear from every eye. To the ordinary person on the street, it matters little what law you govern him with. I am being extremely frank. She or he is not concerned in her or his mind about the specifics of the law. He or she is more concerned with a different question. Will the law, whatever it may be applied fairly to me? Will the authority treat me fairly? Will I get a fair trial? Will principles of natural justice be followed? We also need to tell our judges in the districts to not hesitate to grant bail in a deserving case. The High Courts have to tell them that they will not be targeted for granting bails in appropriate cases. The Supreme Court and the High Court cannot and will not hesitate to step in when needed, but if bail is granted below, in a lot of cases, it would obviate the need for people to knock doors of higher courts besides reducing the time spent in jail pending trial. While our economic metrics improve, we should not lose sight of the ground realities. Most of those in jail come from extremely disadvantaged backgrounds, judged from any socio-economic sphere of poverty, of gender, of religion, of caste. That woman or man is more directly affected by a daily fear of unfair treatment. This is exactly what a robust system based and premised on a rule of law aims to prevent. Illustratively speaking, whether you look at the old set of statutes or the newer ones, what doesn't change is the Constitution. The rights guaranteed under Part 3, more particularly under Articles 14, 15, 19, 20, 21 and 22 in the context of penal statutes are the bulwark standing between the ordinary citizen and the mighty state. These articles will always operate to protect the citizen, but lawyers and judges have an important role to play herein. Apart from the obvious text of Article 21, in Menka Gandhi versus Union of India, it was imported formally into our Constitution the due process of law, which is fair and reasonable. The faith of the public in the rule of law must be maintained. One of the obvious facets of the rule of law is the independence of the judiciary. A judiciary which will look out for the citizens, a judiciary which will balance the competing rights of the individuals and the state. While one side holds the life and liberty of an individual, the other side has the interest of society and state. Edmund Burke once had occasion to comment that greater the power, more dangerous the abuse. Some years back, late Mr. Nariman had said that the citadel never falls except from within. It is time for the women and men of law to pay heed to his ideals and thoughts. I wish the convention all success and thank the Bar Association for giving me this opportunity to be part of the inaugural session. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Justice Amanullah. We know you have a flight to catch. We will not hold you back. Oh. Thank you for giving us this time. If we have time, then I will request our President-elect to give a response to Justice Amanullah's speech and elucidate us with the inaugural session.
Thank you. I had in fact said that it will only be repetition of what my Lord has said. The question is today of the Constitution and the rule of law for which the convention is being held. We thank you for giving us all this, that how we have to go forward. Bar Association of India is committed, Lord, to take this forward. Your words will carry weight with us and all participants in these the two-day sessions that we have. The fact of the matter would remain that we have seen, as your Lordship has rightly pointed out, that even in this subcontinent, Constitution is there. but hardly anybody implements it. But we need to implement our law. We need to implement it to be fair to the citizens, and we would do that certainly for capacity building itself, as Prashant has rightly said, this rule of law convention is. Because if we are able to reach out to our lawyer friends, what are the new things that have come in these amendments, how they have to be interpreted, but ultimately, of course, the last laugh would be by the court, but at least we must build our capacity. And who could be better than learning from Mr. Nariman how we have to put, Mr. Subhash just told us that he said you have a hopeless case, you have nothing to it, and yet ultimately succeeded. That's where we need to articulate ourselves, we need to build our capacity, and I think that's the time, looking at it, that we are here today, the inaugural by an honorable judge with us, despite shortage of time, and despite the fact that my Lord, I'm sure, must be fasting, that he's here with us, itself is a point for us to understand that we as lawyers, bar and bench together, I can personally tell you, if bar and bench was to join hands together, you can move mountains with it, without any hesitation. And we thank you, sir, for being here with us. I would not take your time, but to request you that continue to be with us, guide us in all our efforts so that we continue with more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandio. Can I now request Dr. Anandita Pujari to give vote of thanks?
Thank you, Mr. Bedi. Unlike the Honorable Judge, who can afford to not mention who is on the dais and who is off the dais, I would rather go by the protocol and mention about the Honorable Judge who is on the dais, Learned Attorney General who is off the dais. I'm guessing the Learned Attorney General wants to say something, if I may request him.
Since the convention is about, in the context of the 3 new legislations, look at the change in the title. It is not any longer Criminal Procedure Code. It should be Nagarik Suraksha. So what is a Suraksha? So the more the penal provisions and the more enlightened the Evidence Act, Suraksha disappears. So we are talking about, therefore, the connection between the trinity between the penal code, the Suraksha and the Evidence Act. I suppose as you go ahead in your convention, we will try to place some focus on these elements. Thank you.
To add on to that, in fact, the very first act that we are going to discuss is the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. And that also is a departure conceptually from Indian Penal Code. So from punishments to justice, that probably is the idea behind reforming the laws. And we also, amongst us, one of the members was part of the committee which proposed all the amendments and suggested all the changes. We'll be listening to him in the second session. I thank Justice Amanullah for accepting our invitation to be with us, because it's really a momentous occasion when the Bar Association of India thought of starting a discussion about the new criminal laws that have come about, because this is really a trilogy, so to say, where a new concept, new ideas are, as the Learned Attorney General rightly pointed out, it has just begun. And while the journey is yet to begin in January, we at Bar Association of India, keeping in mind our unique structure, where we have not only members, the individual legal practitioners as our member, but also bar associations, District Bar Association as well as High Court Bar Associations as our member, including the SCB and SCORA as our members, we thought it is the right moment to start talking about it, so that if there is any need to training, to need to discuss, to hold workshops, we must begin now, because we must utilize the breaks to learn more about the new laws. Keeping that in mind, this year's Rule of Law Convention was dedicated to this theme, besides, of course, paying rich tribute to our past President, Mr. Nariman. In that context, my assigned job here right now is to propose a vote of thanks and to express the gratitude that the Bar Association of India wants to extend to not only the learned judge who is with us, also to all of you, because it's a journey that we are going to start together. And therefore, I welcome all of you for being here. We have got friends, in fact, from many, many places. not only from the legal practitioners from Delhi. I think we have got friends from Bombay Bar, Mr. Waranjikar, Mr. Thakkar, Mr. Desai. And we have got friends from Karnataka, starting from Mr. Acharya, who has always been very kind and always been associated with us. We have got friends from other parts of Karnataka as well. We have got friends from Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. We have got friends from Northeast. I can see that. We have friends from Gujarat who is waving me from there. So if I'm missing out on anybody, please, please do not mind it. But we are happy. We are happy that all of us are here together to learn it together. And the Honorable Judge has set the tone right by saying that we must keep in mind it's not about the rules always. He was emphasizing on the principles. The learned AG was also emphasizing on the principles. And as students of jurisprudence and constitution, we must know where and how to find the principles. And the journey has just begun. The next journey for the learned judge begins now because I am standing in between that. So thank you, Judge, for being here. Thank you, all of you, for being here. If I missed out on anybody's name, kindly excuse me. Thank you so much. We also have a flower bouquet for the learned judge. I request the BI office to quickly